2 years of relevant experience in the industry, then you can at least expect around 15 to 22. My CTC was in like 6 to 8 LPA, and that's where I got introduced to big data as a field. At Salesforce, for any given role, you would have at least 3 interviews. I wasn't more interested in your Java development or web development.
And how difficult is it for someone to move from the service-based companies or consulting companies to the product-based companies?
Coding, not you have graph questions or something around that.
Hey everyone, welcome back to eLearning Bridge. I hope you guys are doing good and staying safe. So I am back with another amazing and real inspiring podcast for all the aspiring data engineers. And in this podcast, I will be having a conversation with very talented data engineer from the Salesforce and very popular for their products and work-life balance. And his story will definitely motivate a lot of aspiring data engineers, because he also moved from the service-based company to the product-based company like the Salesforce. So lots of things for you to learn from this podcast, because he will share everything, his entire experience, pros and cons of working in the service-based company for the data engineer role, how to crack the product-based companies like Salesforce for the data engineer role, the entire interview process, rounds, questions, along with that the importance of programming, what data engineers do there, and lots of meaningful conversations related to the compensation of data engineers. So make sure you watch this podcast till the very end, because this is really helpful for all the aspiring data engineers. And let me know in the comment section that how do you feel about the service-based companies and how easy or difficult it is move from service to product. And make sure to like this video in really big numbers so that this can reach to maximum number of folks. And also, if you are liking such type of data related content on my channel, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the notification icon. And guys, there is one really important thing which can help you to get shortlisted and crack the interviews of product based companies for the roles like the data engineer and data scientist. And that important thing is the real world projects. But the question is how to create these kind of real world projects which we can mention in our portfolio and resume. And that question is absolutely correct, because there is nothing as such available over the internet for the big data related projects. But there is one really amazing platform, Project Pro, which is there for you and solving this problem for all the aspiring data professionals. So the Project Pro is the only end-to-end data projects platform in the world. So this platform is the only source where you can find the verified and end-to-end completely solved real world projects for the big data. And you can definitely check out this amazing platform. I have provided the link in the video description. So far there are 230 plus end-to-end solved projects available on Project Pro. Similarly, 2500 plus free things which are consumable for you. And these use cases, all real world projects which you will get from here, end-to-end solved, those are actually created by the experts who are working in top tech companies like Netflix, Walmart, Microsoft, Uber, Amazon, Chase, and many more. And these completely end-to-end solved projects will definitely help you to enhance your technical skills, plus will give you a great weightage to your resume, and also it will help you in your professional growth, because these things are completely reusable if in your company you are about to work on such kind of similar use cases. So you can definitely use these reusable code components and you can impress your team and manager. For every project there will be detailed explanation available and guided videos, and also you can get the one-to-one mentorship from these experts. And it is very easy to use. You can log in from here. Here you can check everything related to your project progress and the projects listed down here. And the thing which I like about the customized learning path which you can create for yourself based on your profile and experience. So let's say I want to work on the projects related to the data engineering. So I'll go here and provide all the important details based on your experience. And after telling the details about your experience, you can get your path here. And after that, based on your demanded skill set, you will be getting the list of these projects which will help you to work on the real world use cases plus enhance your skill set. So use it and check this platform right now. I have given the link in the description. Alright, so thank you so much, Jeel, for joining me in my podcast. And I'm really glad to have another fellow data engineer, and that too from a top notch product based company, Salesforce, and very well known for their culture, their tech stack, and the kind of work they are doing, or the kind of dominance they have created in the IT market, right? So it would be really great, Jeel, if you can introduce yourself to the audience and little bit about your academic background.
Sure, Shashank. So thank you first of all for having me on this podcast. I've been following your podcast since a very long time, and it's really inspiring to see so many data engineers making their path in the data engineering field and the success that they are receiving. A small introduction about myself. I'm based out of Gujarat, and I did my BTech from computer engineering from 𝗪𝗏 University, and then post that I joined a management consulting firm, CS. Post that I'm currently working with Salesforce, and I'm quite interested in big data from my college days, so that's how I chose this field.
Very interesting, Jeel. As you mentioned, you got to know about big data from college time itself. So I will definitely put up some questions. I would be really interested to know that sort of journey. So in your past experience, just after graduating, right, from your college, you started your career in big data as analyst, that too in ZS, right? So how was that journey, and did you explore this field during your college time? If yes, then how, and how did you move into the companies like ZS?
Yep. So, like in my college days, we had a subject called like kind of a project. You can say a small project, but just a exploration that we need to do in the second year, and that's where I got introduced to big data as a field. And post that, I had developed quite an interest in this Hadoop and the stuff that we have in big data technologies. So, like as in the electives as well that we have, like we have big data, machine learning, and so I was quite interested in the data field. I wasn't more interested in your Java development or web development or anything around that. So I chose electives as well in the similar domain, and like big data, ML. I was also quite interested in data science during my college days, but then I explored it, did some certifications as well, explored it in ZS as well, but that didn't really worked out very well. So I chose big data as the career, and then I had competing offers in other domain like software development as well, like pure software development in legacy tools and technologies. But I chose ZS because it has more of kind of data analytics profile, and that's where like I selected ZS, and this is how the journey has been.
So you can also like share your experience in the comment section if you got the chance to explore big data in the college time or in the industry. Just let me know, how did you got to know about the big data, data engineering, data science when you were exploring this big data and everything? And we know there is a lots of noise in the market related to data science, AI, ML and other stuff. So why not those profiles? Why specifically data engineering?
Yep. So as I highlighted in my previous answer, that I was interested in data science, and during my tenure at ZS, I did ask couple of like my managers to if I can get that project. I tried to explore data science as well. We had quite a good production scale business use cases where I discussed with the data in science team that we had dedicated team at CS. But later I realized that it's not like my kind of work that I would like to do on a longer run, and that's where I chose big data, because I was more of like kind of coding some design aspects, some kind of Python language coding or Scala coding, and that's where I chose big data over data science or AI/ML or anything around that.
Awesome. And I think your answer will also help the aspiring data professionals who are in the dilemma, like what kind of profile will work out for them. So I think the way Jeel decided that data science is not for him or something like that, similarly you can even figure out what you are liking and where your interest is inclined. So Jeel, one last follow-up question is that do you mind sharing your annual CTC when you started your journey in the IT industry, like in the companies like ZS?
Yeah, so my CTC was in like range of, you can say 6 to 8 LPA, and that's where I started the journey.
Now you're working as a data engineer at Salesforce, definitely, which is one of the best product-based companies with amazing compensation, work-life balance. Also, you worked with companies like ZS, which are more into the big data analytics services and consulting. So for data engineers, what are the pros and cons of working in the service-based firm, and how difficult is it for someone to move from the service-based companies or consulting companies to the product-based companies?
Yep. So coming for the first part of like how is it like working at a service-based firm. So one thing that I noticed is like you get to work on many different use cases when you're working with service-based firm, like different areas of like you have hospitality sector, you have pharma sector, you have banking sector. So you get different domain knowledge when you work at like as a service based firm. and also I've seen that you get to work on kind of many new tools and technologies nowadays as well in service based form, because they are also looking towards solutions which are more into big data, and they also have this use cases of solving the different problems with the help of latest technologies. But again, there are a few projects where you get a kind of support role which are working still on legacy technologies, but you need to prove that you are good at this new technologies, or you want to move towards that or learn towards that, and you definitely get something sooner or later, some kind of relevant projects in the service based form. When coming towards like how the transition from service based to product based, it is kind of difficult, I would say, but not very difficult. If you have right set of knowledge and you choose right set of profile, then you will be definitely able to get into product based form. Target the companies, look out for their how the interview processes have, how the teams are there, which tools and technologies do they use. Try to learn that during your time at service based form, and that would definitely help you crack the interviews.
If you have a different experience, like if you want to share some pros and cons of the service based companies and product based companies, feel free to put it in the comment section. So moving towards the next question, Jeel, and that is like about the Salesforce, because this is the often asked question, like data engineers cracking some of the good top notch product based companies, and Salesforce is one of them. You have cracked their interviews, so definitely it would be really helpful for all the aspiring data engineers who are watching this video if you can share the entire interview process at the Salesforce for this data engineer role, like total number of rounds, in each round what kind of questions interviewers were asking. I'm not asking for the exact questions because obviously that is not ethical, but if you can highlight the topics, that would be really helpful.
Sure. So in general, at Salesforce, for any given role you would have at least 3 interviews from a data engineering perspective. One is with your manager, which is managerial round.
Okay.
The second is your programming round, which is based out of Python, where you would have your programming related questions, and third is data manipulation round, with which will mainly be of SQL. So when it comes to programming round, the programming questions are not very tough, and not just Salesforce, but even in general, I've given interviews at many different product based companies, and for data engineering role they do expect kind of a little bit coding, not like you have graph questions or something around that. So at Salesforce you just get questions around arrays, string manipulations, some kind of trees, or you can say linked list kind of traversal, or very easy lead code, you can say lead code easy questions, to lead code medium to some extent, and that's very rare. So yeah, from programming standpoints that's the level, but you need to be very good at SQL, because when they are not considering programming like domain as a very strong skill, but SQL is very strong when it comes to data engineer. So they do ask like very deep questions on SQL, like based on the real-time use cases or something around that they are working on and how you would solve it. So yeah, SQL questions are very kind of scaled up when it is compared to programming questions, based on like the team that you are going to join. So if they are working on any specialized skills, like you can say Spark, or any of the big data technologies, like or any clouds like AWS, Google Cloud, then all of those would have a separate round, like as a combined one, but it will definitely depend on team, like which specific role they are looking for. So if I've seen across Salesforce like Snowflake, Airflow, these are major tools that are being used. So if you have expertise in that and you can showcase it in your interview, then also it's very helpful. They would have a separate round for it if they're requiring any specific skills around that.
Guys, if this kind of information and these kind of interviews are helping you, then make sure to like this video as well, so that this kind of amazing podcast can reach to all aspiring data professionals, so that they can also learn something from these videos. Under the umbrella of big data, there are lots of job profiles, we all know, and this is one of the often asked questions as well. Sometimes might be, let's say your juniors might have reached out to you that we want to understand more about data engineering, what they do, what's their job, where they lie in the company, something. So I would like to know the same thing from you, their position in the job profile hierarchy and what they are trying to solve for a specific company.
So right now in the world that we are currently, the data is the most important you can say element to it. Consider just an example, like the the interview that we are recording right now, right? You would post it on YouTube. You would like to know what the audience is, how they are interpreting this video, and you would like similar videos to be published later, so as to it can help multiple other folks in the data engineering field. Similarly, each and every activity that company does has a data attached to it, and they would like to know how their customers are taking that, you can say a feature launch, or the like you have websites, so how they are recepting to that launches, the new features that are being launched. So data engineer is very important part of it. And when it comes to big data engineering, you have AI ML use cases, you have a large scale of data that's going around. So data engineer definitely creates a pipeline which will help all of the companies to take business decisions based on that. It can be cost decisions, it can be time based decisions, it can be anything that will help company grow and success.
I would like to know from you guys as well. Just don't Google anything. Based on your understanding, what you have heard from here and there, tell me the difference between the data engineers, data scientists, and data analysts in some short sentences. Again, don't Google anything. Just based on your understanding, just let me see how many people know about the data engineering very, very clearly. So moving on to the next question, Jeel, that is like lots of folks ask that we want to move into the data engineering, but it is not made for everyone, right? We clearly can understand, and not just data engineering, any job profile, like not everybody is made for that, or not everybody will be interested for that. So what do you think, who should actually target the profiles like data engineering, and why?
There are many perspectives to it, and like everyone's interest is the priority that they should look for. But when it comes to data engineering, what you can find in data engineering is a variety of use cases around data, because every sector, every domain that you work on has a different set of data. So first, if you are very interested in understanding that data, if you are interested in transforming that data and creating business value out of it, then definitely data engineering is a field for you. Second, it also is a mix of programming, but not the entire set of programming. Like you won't be working on full stack development or something around that, and that's why this is the domain where you have a slight or you can say interested in programming, but you don't want to completely transition into that field. You want to work with data and programming both, then this is the field for you.
Since you got to know about the big data from the college time itself, let's say, and then slowly, gradually you like moved into the data engineering. So let's say if you want to guide any fresher that, hey, if you want to become a data engineer, these are the top 4 or 5 things you should actually have as a required skill set. So what would be those?
I think priority of the skills is SQL first, that you should definitely work upon. Second is any one of the programming language, which can be either Python or Scala, whichever you are comfortable with. The third thing is kind of you can say big data tools, but when it comes to big data tools, it may be not completely relevant to job profiles that you are looking for. So you can go around, like you want to go for batch processing, you want to go for streaming processing, like kind of Kafka tools or big data tools or Spark or anything around that. So that is very specific to job profiles. So 2 things first, SQL and Python. This you should be very good at. Third, go for design principles as well. Like design at an early stage, for a fresher it's not very important, but when it comes to, if you have that skill, then it's definitely a cherry on the cake. So if you have some kind of design knowledge around how you design system, how you design pipelines with big data ecosystem, then it's going to be very helpful in any of the job interviews.
Jeel, based on your interview experiences, or based on your experiences for the big data related projects or whatever it is, what is the importance of programming and DSA to crack the data engineering interviews and in our day-to-day activities as well?
So if I talk about the programming part, then of course you cannot neglect that part. You have to work on that, but the level of coding or level of programming knowledge that is required is not like to an extent of similar to software developer. So if you have a knowledge about string manipulation, then you have arrays, trees, linked list, this all would completely, I think, form the base for any of the programming language. When it comes to product based company interviews, I have seen typically companies go till that level, but some of the product based companies, on an off case kind of thing, you would have a higher kind of difficult kind of problems for interviews, but mostly this would be limited to trees, linked list, arrays and strings. This covers mainly all of the DSA programming, and when it comes to regular programming as well, definitely you would work on the object based programming and everything, but again the amount of the programming knowledge that you would require is not too much as compared to a software developer.
So that was about this question. And let's say recently you appeared in any of the product based company interviews for the data engineer role. Let us know in the comment section if they ask the programming related question. If yes, then what was the level, and if you can share the questions as well, that would be also really helpful. How much data engineers are getting paid in big product based companies based on their experiences? What would be different salary components as also? Let's say any aspiring data engineers who's targeting company like Salesforce, so at your experience level, what could be the potential CTC range he or she should expect?
So coming first to like the components of the salary breakdown, so it will definitely have similar components that are being offered to software developers as of now, which would include your base salary, joining bonuses, the stock part, and now I think it's the time where salaries are being compared to software developer as compared to few years back when data engineers were not getting the enough. So definitely it's now in range, or at least coming to in range of software developers. And when it comes to for a CTC perspective, so anyone who is a fresher in this domain can expect CTC of around at least 10 to 15 in a year or so, and beyond that, if you have 2 years of relevant experience in the industry, then you can at least expect around 15 to 22, and then it can go beyond as well based on how many offers you would have, the niche skills if you have any, and if the company's requirement is relevant to your skills, then it would definitely go beyond that.
What you are looking for, right? Data engineers are getting paid well. I've been saying it, and that's why I just bring other people's as well from different companies, so that you can hear their perspective and you can understand how well data engineers are getting paid nowadays, that there is no like huge gap between the salaries. So that was really amazing, Jeel. I love the interaction and I always enjoy the conversation with all the fellow data engineers, and that's the motive, like to bring more and more data engineers so that I can help others aspiring data engineers with their interview experiences, their learning experiences, and also to make data engineering more and more popular. So thank you so much for accepting my invite and coming here and sharing this wonderful experience, wonderful information. That was really helpful. Thank you so much, Jeel.
Thank you so much, Shashank, for having me here.
So that's what I had for you guys in this amazing podcast. I hope you would have enjoyed this entire conversation with Jeel and you would have learned from his experience. If yes, then make sure to like this video in really big number so that it can reach to maximum number of folks, and also share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. And if you're watching any of my video for the very first time, make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the notification icon. I will see you guys in the next weekend with another amazing podcast. Till then, just stay safe, stay home, take care of yourself and your family too.